Hello everyone, I'm back again today to go through with you the next in the Mayan series. So I'm now on day sign number 10 of the Mayan calendar. So that's halfway when this video is done today. As ever, normally with numerology and say with the Enneagram, I can show you ways of finding out your type. But when it comes to the Mayan calendar, it's a little bit more complex. So what I'm going to do is put websites in the description box at the end that you can use. And there are many. I mean, you only need to put it into Google and the calculators will come up. Just ensure that you're using a good one, or maybe do some repeated tests just to be sure. And that's just basically the start of your research. Then you find out your Mayan day sign, and when you know your Mayan day sign, especially when I've done all 20, you'll be able to look what your Mayan day sign entails, and it will explain a lot to you. It will help you understand why you are the way you are, just like numerology does. Astrology is just a different way of speaking to the universe, really, and I'm interested in numerology the most, but also in Mayan astrology, as the Mayan culture fascinates me. So before I gabble on any further, let's do what I normally do at the start, in case anyone hasn't seen my videos on the Mayan calendar before. I always do a little intro about the Mayan calendar, but I don't go into too much detail, even though there's a lot to tell about it. But I'll tell you more and more, and the more videos that I do on the Mayan calendar. Okay, so if you don't know already, the Mayans were an ancient people from what is now from ancient Mesoamerica, but what is now Central America. So we're talking Mexico, Guatemala, and the Central American area. Now, the Mayan is an amazing ancient culture, and I'm very, very interested in the ancient cultures and totally fascinated with the Mayan culture and in the calendar. The Maya were very much known for their amazing knowledge of astronomy and mathematics, but their culture was pretty much destroyed by a mixture of their own hand, I would imagine, religious fanatics coming in and trying to destroy their culture because they truly believed it was wrong, or European settlers that came in and destroyed what was there so that they could settle. So there's many different ways that the Mayan people have lost that we've lost the Mayan culture. However, we have managed to piece together the facts from a few indigenous sources, Mayan people that are still alive now, because the Mayan people are still very much alive. Old manuscripts that have survived, inscriptions, and the Mayan people are also studied by archaeoastronomers, ethnoastronomers, and anthropologists all over the world. I'm also interested in Western astrology, but more so Mayan astrology, because it connected with me intuitively more than, say, Western astrology did. The difference, really, if I'm going to discuss between Western astrology and Mayan astrology, is Western astrology looks very much at astronomical cycles and planetary alignments, whereas the Mayan calendar focuses on cyclical blocks of time, so blocks of time which turn in cycles. So the Mayan system is like a series of groupings of days. Okay, the most important to us being the 260-day Tzolk'in calendar. Which I'll talk to you a little bit more at the minute. But at the minute, the Mayan calendar is like an intricate correlation between time, number astrology, astronomy, all existing alongside and separately from the 365-day Gregorian calendar that we work out now, but it can be used alongside it and used to govern your daily life, as I do. Right, so the day sign is the most important, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. Your day sign plus your future past masculine and feminine sides. And you will be able to learn about Chakana as well through learning about the day signs. So first of all, so the 260 day or the year is split into 20 days. Okay, and these 20 days move in a cycle. And each of these 20 days or day signs has their own sign that reveals important information about the person's destiny, their personality, their abilities, their weaknesses, their spiritual essence, their meaning, and their expected evolution for this lifetime. So it's a very important piece of information to know. The Trikana is another part of your reading. And so the day sign's most important, and then the Trikana is depending on which essence day sign you were born on. That wasn't explained very well, is it? So the day signs are split. There's 20 of them. Okay, the Trikana, it still has the 20 day signs, but each of the day signs has 13 days attributed to it. So there's 13 days attributed to crocodile, and then the next one, wind, there is 13 days. Did I say 20 days? 13 days for crocodile, then it switches to wind, that has 13 days. So you can be born on a particular day sign, but also in a particular Trikana or a particular 13-day cycle. So the day sign is about 75% you, including all the elements that go with it, the future, past, masculine, feminine signs of your day sign. So that's about 75% you. And your Trikana sign is about 25% you, okay? If we compare personality to a picture, I would say the day sign's in the foreground and the Trikana's in the background. So one's more prominent than the other, but they are both relevant. As also the galactic tone. So in your reading, you'll get a day sign, a Trikana sign, and a number, which is the three most important of your reading. And the tone really is a number between, I think, 1 and 9 and 1 and 13. What am I talking about? 1 and 9. Must be something to do with my acute boredom at not being able to leave the house due to certain viruses that are going around the world. Maybe it's got my brain. Anyway, your galactic tone reveals the relationship between yourself and the divine plan. So my galactic tone just adds some added elements of me, which make me slightly different from another road day sign. It's like a little bit of an added mission or a little bit of an added talent that you can use to achieve the added mission. And it's the energy you radiate to people, society, and the universe. So these are the three most important elements of a Mayan reading. There are other elements. Before I go on with the other elements, I always do this. Just talk a little bit more about the day sign itself. So the dog day sign has a past sign, a future sign. You have a masculine sign and a feminine. Now, the past and future, they're very much about your spiritual evolution. It's very much about where you came from, where you started, and where you're evolving towards. You're under your child or your past day sign until around 12, 13 years old, and then you switch to your day sign. And then your future or your destiny sign comes into play at around the age of 40. And this is your destiny. This is where you're evolving towards. It's like where you're evolving towards in your lifetime, and you need to understand and realize this in order to evolve. Your masculine and your feminine part of your day sign are very much how you express yourself in the real world. So how you express yourself to your family, and how which is your introverted sign, and how you express yourself to the outside world, like your manager or your colleagues. You do, and we all know that we behave differently depending on where we are and depending on our connection to the people who we are with. So our masculine talks very much about what we express to the world, what we would show to our manager, our colleagues, the person down the street, or your next door neighbour that you're not that close to. And then you have your introverted side, which you show to the people that you love, so close friends and family and things like that. And there is a difference. When you're at home, you're different to when you're at work. So different sides of you do will out. Right, so these are other elements of your day sign that I mention and that I haven't talked a huge amount about yet, but I will do future videos on them. So you've got the Lord of the Night, and these are all part of your reading as well. They're all, think of them as extra herbs to the meal of you. Okay, so the Lord of the Night is a repeating sequence of 9 days, symbolizing your deep unconscious hidden motivations, like your soul urge number in numerology. But not so, the soul urge number is much more important in numerology than it is in Mayan astrology, in my experience anyway. The solar years are, your solar year is days grouped into years grouped into 54 year cycles. Each year in the cycle has its own special quality reflected in your personality and character. But I think this is very background, because everybody born in that year will have that same essence about them. So it's very much just an extra added spice or flavouring that someone from a different year may have something different. Last but not least, your phase of Venus, which is divided into 4 main periods. And the phase in which a person is born offers even more added insights into their social values and their role in society. So remember, we're all individuals. You could have the same day sign as someone else, but that doesn't mean you're like them in any way. You could be born in a completely different Trikana, have a different Lord of the Night. You see, this is how we add the extra individuality and flavour to each person within the Mayan calendar. So the direction that the dog sign goes in is in the north, or the white group, I like to call them. And the white group, or the signs that are associated with the north, are very much about separation, sacrifice, being objective rather than subjective, and materialistic maybe rather than spiritual oftentimes, but not always, I don't think. I think it's that fight between materialism and spirituality is more prominent in the northern signs. So dog or ok, I'm not even going to try and pronounce z. I have no idea how you would pronounce that, but that's the Mayan name, meaning dog or leg, weirdly. The element that's related to the dog Mayan sign is air. And the direction, as I've said, is the north. And other signs in the white group or the north group are dog, which is this one, jaguar, flint, wind, and death. Okay, and you would be quite compatible with these numbers in the real world. Okay, so if you're a dog or ok, pointing to the north, you love to roam short distances. So having like walks round your estate, or going for walks, short walks round your area. You like to keep an eye on the area that you live. You could probably you definitely be a good person like for neighbourhood watch, because you do like to protect the people that live around you, and you like short distance travel, so you'd be good at patrolling the area, or even like a local policeman, that kind of person. You work really well with others, especially in teams. You're very much a team worker. But you're very sensitive as well, and aiming for positions of authority. So you're very sensitive to hierarchy, sensitive to rank and others' rank and how that relates to you. You instinctively know how to judge and assess a situation correctly, because you've got keen senses, a natural instinct to protect, especially your neighbourhood, your people, your family. Monitoring your territory, as I've just commented on. Excellent community leaders and community supporters, maybe even judges, policemen, business advisors. You also have got a love for history, and you like historic monuments and learning about the history of areas. I think it gives that a sense of comfort and security. You could be very good as a history teacher, as an archaeologist, always looking around at what the past may hold for us in the future. You also love the arts. The dog sign is very musical and very technique conscious. But you also enjoy variety and getting out there and doing different things. You'll be a good camper, good survivor, good Bear Grylls kind of person. But you have a higher mind and very positive intentions. You're inspiring to others, and I think your biggest thing is the difference that dogs make in their community. Excellent leaders, advisors, advocates, just helpers of the people that they live by. Excuse me. I don't know if it's the air in here. But I always start having itchy throat and itchy nose when I'm in this room. I don't know if it's to do with the heating and the insulation, but I don't know. But I definitely do not have coronavirus before you all start commenting. Anyway, your personality, you're a very loyal person, very patient, very dependable. People can depend on you to help them. That's what makes you so amazing in the community. Very loyal to friends and family. Still that protector. You protect your loved ones. You stick by your allies. You're helpful, you're cooperative, you're trustworthy, exactly what's needed for a community person. In life, you're loving, a faithful, playful friend. You provide for your family, you work at a steady pace. As I've said before, definitely the team player. You've definitely got that group or pack instinct of the dog. High aspirations for yourself. Consistent in your beliefs, so you don't allow people to change your way of thinking easily. If you have a certain belief system, you're very consistent with that. Predictable, and your standards are quite high, so you're fairly perfectionistic, but you crave freedom of movement. You like to move around the area, definitely. Leader in many situations. You have a lot of endurance, a lot of patience, and you're very good at, you can focus very well. Decisive, but also sensitive, spontaneous, and courageous. Negative dog. So the negative dog can be quite a worrisome person, and they can be quite naive and listen to people that maybe they shouldn't, and believe lies that maybe they should have ignored, and then become very, very sensitive about that. So they can be also quite easily hurt. And that can make it difficult for them to get on with others at times. They may get frustrated because of their worry or their fear, and become very, very sensitive and stroppy with people, and become my way or the highway kind of attitude. That never bodes well with other people. Sometimes very emotionally unstable, confused and insecure, and you can be quite selfish and swing from flamboyancy and being manipulative, hedonistic, which can draw you into drugs and alcohol if you're not careful, or dangerous activities that won't necessarily do your health any good. You can be, but when you're out of balance, you're the sort of person, you can be really out there, or you can be completely lazy and just refuse to do anything. As I've said, addiction can be one of your worst enemies. I think one of the things that the dog really needs to work on is maintaining that balance, acting maturely, being a bit more responsible, maybe less sexually promiscuous, violent and emotional, and trying to calm yourself and maybe think before you act. A dog can be very emotional and be very impulsive and do and say and act in a way that isn't all that good, especially when they're in an emotional state. So that's something you really need to guard against if you're a Mayan dog day sign. As I've said a couple of times, your day sign isn't just your day sign. You have elements that go with that. So as well as the day sign elements that I've just explained to you, you also have a masculine sign, which is the sign you show to the character and the abilities that you show to your colleagues or your friends, or like not close friends, but colleagues, bosses, managers, that kind of thing. Your feminine side or your introverted sign is what you would then show, is this character you would show to your close family, close friends, people that you love, and people that you see out of work and that know you personally. Your past sign is the sign you were until up to the age of 12, 13 years old. Then you went to your day sign. And then if you're that old yet, I certainly am, around about your 40s, give or take a year, you start to feel the nudges of your future sign, which is your added mission that's attached to your day sign. So your masculine sign. So if you're a dog, day sign, the side that you show to the world, show to your manager or show to your colleagues or your friends that aren't overly close, you show them your it's, what's it called, the seed or the can day sign. So when you're out in the world, the dog day sign has the energy of the seed or the can, which is passionate, active and dynamic. You have high standards for yourself. You're independent, you're brave, confident, very much the charmer. You're strong, you're determined. You fight through difficulties. You don't just sit back and let them just beat you. You stand up for what you believe in. You're outgoing. You're definitely the leader. You're very social. You're very popular. You're very influential. You help everybody. You'll help relatives. You'll help friends. You're very honest. You're very noble in what you do, supportive, and you strive for the ideal relationship. But, be careful with that, because I don't, what's ideal? I don't think there is an ideal, to be perfectly honest, because everyone's idea of the ideal is different. You're a bit of a performer. You very much like attention. You're very confident. You're very charming. Self-esteem. You've got a lot of confidence. You attract attention by being different and not being shy or shying away from attention. Definitely an entertainer or a performer. People will see you as the life of the party, and you'll have a lot of friends. Your manager will like you. Your colleagues will like you. You're a natural athlete as well. You're probably in the local sports team or the sports team for your company. You certainly need to be involved in sport in some way, because you need a physical outlet because of that active, dynamic, passionate energy that you have. You strive to achieve your dreams. You have high standards for yourself. You're hardworking, you're determined and productive, and you have a powerful impact on others. You certainly don't always follow the rules, because no can or seed signs that I've ever known have ever let their emotions drop or hidden away. When authority comes, they will still tell authority to do one as well. Very rebellious at times, and if they want to have fun, they're going to have fun. Let's stop there. Most seed signs that I know, and seed was my past sign, very rebellious, always getting yourself into trouble. But I think that's a good thing. You shouldn't always do what you're told. Rules are meant to be broken, right? So your feminine side, this is the side that your family will see. This is the side that your friends will see, people that love you and that you love back. So into the outside world, you're very much the charmer and the talker, and everyone loves you. But at home, you're a little bit quieter. With people that love you, you're that little bit quieter. You're a good advisor. You're more serious and hardened to life, where in the outside world, you're a lot more jovial and loud. But at home, you're a lot more serious, deep, competent, quite wise and determined. Wise and determined, or discerning, I meant to say, not determined. Ultra realistic and pragmatic, philosophical about life. I think that you've got a sort of a mix of both there. You can be real hardened and realistic and tangible, but you also have that side of you that can be very philosophical and very thought driven, status conscious still. Your main day sign is status conscious, and I think it permeates all through all elements of you, and it definitely permeates at home. You probably like to be the one in the house that makes most of the decisions, and it wouldn't surprise me if you weren't the boss of the house. You like high positions, driven to raise your socio-political standards. So you could, because you're into the community anyway, I can see you being maybe involved in your local political group, maybe as, just supporting the group, or maybe going as far as being an MP for the political group that you support or in your area. Very high standards, just like your day sign. Excellent sense of judgment, critical, downplays others' feelings a little bit. So I think you can sometimes upset friends and family when you downplay their feelings a little bit. But you work very hard. You're sensitive to authority and hierarchy. Like I said, you probably like to be the one that makes the decisions at home. You fear rejection, however, and there's a lot of fives in the past that have been victims of authority. as well as being interested in authority, they've been victims of it, and been beaten and abused, and all sorts. So they're very, 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 very conscious of power and hierarchy, very much so. So when you were a child, do you remember back dog day sign to when you were young? I'm gonna say straight away that you were probably in trouble a lot at school. A very inspiring communicator, loved to chat, sharing ideas, and you'd been great at school when it was like group decisions, but when the teacher wanted you to be quiet so he or she could talk to you or teach you something, that may have been a little bit more of a difficulty, because verbal communication would have been very much you as a young and very interesting conversationalist. You'd have probably been in trouble a lot for talking in class, not paying attention. Very much the confident public speaker. You'd have probably been in all the school plays. You may have been in the debate team. You may have done speeches that you've had to do for English at school, reading, writing. Very much a good communicator as a child. A go-to person for friends because you've got quite good chat, listening and counselling skills. Intuitive, perceptive communicator. And people would have gone to you if they had some, or your friends would have gone to you if they were upset about something, because you would have put a friendly arm around them and told them it's okay. So very, very chatty, very communicative, but also very caring, intuitive, knows how to look after others and put a friendly arm around them. I think you would have been involved in maybe the drama groups at school, a musician, or maybe even a singer while you were at school. Definitely fashion conscious. You'd want to dress in all the latest gear, and looking good. And you're very sensitive to the way your environment looks. You very much love art and you love beauty. So you've probably got your room decorated beautifully or your home decorated beautifully. And I bet you never go out unless you look pucker. More service rather than leadership when you were young. And your day sign's very looks for leadership, and your day sign's very hierarchy conscious. But when you were younger, you weren't so bothered. You were more into service really than anything else, and you did that feeling of leadership wasn't really as important to you when you were a young'un. You were smart at school, across the board. You would have been fairly good at all subjects and been a bit of a jack of all trades. Self-aware, lots of personal power. Nobody would have walked all over you. Living by your own rules. Like I said, you would have got in trouble a lot for chatting. You might have done a little bit of back chat to the teachers. Multiple interests because you've got multiple skills, and you would have probably not known as a young person what you wanted to be when you were older, because you had so many skills and so many interests that you wouldn't have been able to have chosen between them. Changeable, a bit emotionally changeable, but also adaptable with that. Idealistic, very romantic, would look for young lady friends as a young one and be quite loyal to them as much as you could be as a young child. Active, full of life. You love to travel and get about. You just got in a bit of a trouble when you were younger, that's all. But as you advance towards, I hate to say later years because I'm above 40, and I don't consider them later years, but I'm going to say middle age and beyond, you'll start to feel as if you're becoming more mechanically inclined, more practical. You might, as you get older, want to get an old car and do it up, or build machines or build computers, or you'll become more interested in the mechanical forms, and looking at mechanical problems. And you're extremely social as you get older. You love parties, you love family to come round, social gatherings. You're very good at using tools, which was linked to your mechanical interests that you start to gain as you get older. Musical instruments, definitely. I know a dog sign who is now such a virtuoso with his guitar. It's quite amazing to watch him, not only with the sound he produces with his musical instrument, but in how he looks after his musical instrument. You'd think it was his baby, and very, very critical. He can hear music if it's an octave out, or a quarter, quadruple, an eighth of an octave out. He can hear that. You have ideals as you get older about relationships, but you're very polite, compromising, very self-sacrificing for others. You'll put your own interests aside for others, but you can be still quite emotional, as your day sign is very emotional, the dog day sign. You can lose your temper and kick off, but you can lose your temper and kick off, but you often repress those emotions and avoid conflict because you know how much you can kick off if you do really kick off. You become really interested in the technical subjects more as you get older, discussing technical subjects, better with detail, but still vain and quite self-absorbed, you know. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed my video today and it's been really informative for you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like my video, and click the bell icon so that you're always kept up to date with my with all the stuff that I'm about to upload, because I've got loads more to come. If you want to email me, you can email me at katie@soulexplorer.net with any questions. Or you can go to my website, katie@soulexplorer.net, where you'll see my online shop and more information. But there isn't as much information as I want there to be at the minute. And I know I keep promising you that I will put more on there, but I will eventually put more on there. But please look at my online shop. And if you want to contact me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn or Twitter, I'm going to put those links in the description box so that you can do so. As ever, guys, trust the soul within you, your intuition, your perceptions. They're the only ones that matter. If your gut says it, then go with it. Okay? Trust the soul within you. See you soon, guys.